What's going on, everybody? We're going to go ahead and get the show started in just a bit. We're going to go in and we're going to definitely talk about recapping this game. I apologize for my voice. My voice is not 100% after last night's live stream. And I thank everybody for tuning in to that live stream yesterday. So, definitely I appreciate everybody who watched and everybody who tuned in to it and everything. But we're definitely going to talk about what happened in this game. The Titans unfortunately falling 20-17 to the Kansas City Chiefs, and we're definitely going to talk about this um as far as what happened, why did they lose this game, and everything that happened, the good, the bad, and the god awful. We'll definitely get into that. So we're finna get ready to get started in less than 60 seconds.
Good evening, Titan Nation. How's everybody?
What's going on, Titan Nation? Welcome in to TNT Postgame. I'm your host, Blue Enforcer, aka The Truth, as the Tennessee Titans unfortunately fall in overtime to the Kansas City Chiefs 20-17 at Arrowhead. We're definitely going to talk about this game a lot further and discuss why this team maybe have lost this game and everything, and we're definitely going to talk about it. So make sure you share this show out to everybody. Share it out to everybody on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Make sure you share this show out to everybody, and we're about to get ready to get started. So again, I definitely do appreciate everybody who did tune in to the who tuned into the show, as and tuned into the live stream, excuse me. And I mean, it was definitely a fun show. Again, shout out to Lee Hillis of the 615 podcast for tuning in. And also, I'm going to be on later tonight with Titans Rossi, Titan Upload, Titan Anderson, and others as we discuss this game as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. About 9 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. We're going to definitely talk about this game as well. So again, make sure you share this show out to everybody. And you can share it out, of course, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm going to be doing the same thing momentarily as well. So that way you guys know where to come on in. So we're going to go ahead and start talking about this game. Again, the Tennessee Titans fall 20-17 to the Kansas City Chiefs, and they are now 5-3 on the year, and essentially are at best are going to be the third seed in the AFC. So they won't have the tiebreaker over the Bills or the Chiefs. And there's a lot of things that did go well, but there were a lot of things that didn't go well in this game. And we're going to start first on the defensive side of the ball, because I think it goes right into the good, the bad, and the god awful of this football game. And again, as you see, the Titans fall to the Chiefs 20-17, fall to 5-3. Their 5-game winning streak has been snapped. Sorry, I take a little sip of hot tea for my voice because my voice is somewhat gone after last night. So bear with me, and I appreciate everybody who is tuning in. Of course, I see 615. Like I said, shout out to Lee Hillis from the 615 podcast for joining me last night. Isaiah saying last night was BS. I do agree. And this is something that Lee mentioned last night. But DUPREE going out definitely hurt the defense. And Titan Overdrive said he heard me spitting facts on 104 this morning. Yeah, I had to do that. I had to tell some truth. And there was probably some truth some people didn't want to hear, but it had to be told anyway. So basically, Miss Cheryl, long time no see. Glad you could join us. Glad you're here. But again, the Titans fall 20-13. And let's go ahead and get into the good, the bad, and the awful. And let's not waste any time when it comes to that. And that is simply we start off with the good, because there was a lot of good in this game, but there was also a lot of bad, and there was definitely some god awful. And we're going to start with the good. And that's simply this. Derrick Henry. Another good game. 17 carries, 115 yards, 2 touchdowns. You know, really had this Titan team in position to win. And, you know, early on, they really didn't have an answer for him. And I think a couple of times with some of the long runs, he could have broken those. But I know a lot of it is maybe the injury that he dealt with last year was why he couldn't break them. But, you know, he had a big 56-yard run, and I believe he had another run that was about 35. But Derrick Henry was one of the main reasons we were in this game in the first place. And, of course, I didn't like the fact that later in the game, as the game went on, they took the ball out of Derrick Henry's hands, which was something that you really shouldn't do. And 615, yeah, that's right. It was on Ramon, Kayla, and Will this morning. That's right. So Derrick Henry playing his game did exactly what he had to do and did exactly everything he could. The defense, once again, was fantastic. Now, I know some people will look at Patrick Mahomes' stats and think, oh no, the defense didn't play that well. Take away the 400 some odd yards that Patrick Mahomes threw for. But Patrick Mahomes did not have it easy at all last night. He had to fight for everything. And you could tell during the game that there was a lot of frustration on the Chiefs' side, that clearly the Titan defense was not only in Patrick Mahomes' head, they were also in Travis Kelce's head, because made them do some very uncharacteristic things. Kelce coming off the field, throwing his helmet in the ground. There were times where Patrick Mahomes was like, what the F? And everything like that. So the defense did their job, especially up front. You know, getting pressure on Mahomes and, you know, forcing either some bad throws or the interception that he did throw in this game, which was the only turnover of this game that was caused by our Titan defense. And Shane Bowen definitely deserves a lot of credit. Shane Bowen has definitely gotten better as a defensive coordinator. It would not shock me if he gets a look at head coaching jobs in the very near future. He definitely deserves the opportunity, and I think it would be well needed for him to get that shot. Y'all give me just a second. Sorry about that. But again, Shane Bowen has very much improved in his coaching of this defense, and really even last year showing his defense was good and improving on third down and things like that. So, I mean, Shane Bowen definitely deserves a lot of praise for what he did and for what this defense was definitely able to do. And even though last night, it was a bit of a struggle on third down for the defense because, the Titans defense were number one in the league in third down percentage given up. And, they normally don't give up a lot of third downs. They used to give up only about 25% on third down, but last night, over 42% conversion on third down, but it's the Chiefs. It's the Chiefs. So, the Chiefs are as Triple H would say, they're that damn good. They are that good on that side of the ball. So the defense did everything they could, and they held a number one offense to 20 points. A team that averages 32 points a game, and for the most of the game, held them to 9 points. But there was a bigger reason why the Tennessee Titans lost this game. And really, the Tennessee Titans really did not lose this game. It's more to it. But these are reasons they did not lose this game. So that was the good. But now to the bad. Malik Willis had his struggles. Only 5 of 16, 80 yards in the game. Against a team like Kansas City, you're going to have to throw for more than 80 yards. But in the god-awful, there's a reason for that. That wasn't entirely Malik Willis's fault and everything. So we'll definitely talk about that in just a bit. But I think there were some signs that Malik did get better from what he did in the game against the Houston Texans that he did show. But he did have some struggles in the late game situations, especially when you had a chance to go down and kick the field goal. You have a chance to drive and get in the field goal range and kick the ball to win the game. And there were a couple of issues where the Titans were set up in good positions in the game, and they just didn't make the right calls that could have got them some more points. So definitely late fourth quarter and overtime, Malik struggled. Showed he was a rookie and things like that. But he definitely got better. But he still has some growing to do. Unfortunately, it seemed like we don't really have time for him to grow, that we need to win, and this loss is going to hurt in a lot of ways. But DUPREE getting hurt again is a bad sign for him going forward, because Bud DUPREE cannot keep playing in the game and then get hurt, in the middle of the game. It's like, I don't know why is it that Bud DUPREE can't seem to finish a game. It seemed like every time he starts the game, the next thing we know, he's on the bench, hurt all the time. And that doesn't exactly bode well for his future going forward. So, that's something that we definitely have to do. And again, going back to the defense, did a great job. Kansas City ran 91 plays. 91 plays. And the Titans only ran 48 and were dominated in time of possession by nearly 15 minutes. But the defense held in there. But Malik, definitely got better. But DUPREE getting injured again is a concern, and it is something that that we're going to have to really take into consideration going into the offseason. We can't depend on that. And then this should have been awful, but this all ties into that. Todd Drowning once again. Started off well in the first half, but we knew the second half was coming, and we knew that is where Todd Downing tends to struggle is adjustments. Once you go off script, that's where Todd Downing has his problems. He doesn't know how to adjust to when an adjustment is made on him. For example, the read option was working fine. Did pretty good. It was like pick your poison. If you try to crash it on Henry, Malik Willis could get around the corner and could make a long run. If you try to contain Malik, you get to Henry, Henry's going to bust you up in the middle. So it was kind of a pick your poison. And I mean, if the play action could get down, I think with Malik, the play action could be even more dangerous. But as the game went on, the Chiefs played the read option pretty well. And the thing was, Todd Downing didn't adjust. He didn't adjust to it at all. And it's like he just kept doing the same thing all over again, expecting a different result. And it wasn't working. And, to the fact that you had, you went away from Chig, you went away from Hooper, you go away from Henry, things that were working, but you kept going to things that were not working, and it ultimately cost you the game. So Todd Downing not being able to adjust is definitely bad, and I can't stand it. Todd Downing has to go, but we know Vrabel, loyal to a fault. And that, again, I've said this before, that, that Vrabel, his stubbornness, his arrogance could destroy this football team. And not knowing that Todd Downing doesn't know what he's doing is part of that problem. Vrabel was always talking about, hey, don't be a part of the problem, be a part of the solution. But Vrabel doesn't seem to know how to eliminate the problem. And there is a problem, which leads to the god-awful. And there's quite a bit there. Once again, and I've said this many times, non-existent passing offense. The Tennessee Titans are only one of very few teams that went an entire game and no wide receiver caught the football. That is sickening. That an entire game, no wide receiver caught the football. None. That is extremely embarrassing. And so it's been 5 quarters. I mean, in the entire game, no wide receiver caught a pass. 3 other teams had that happen. We are the 4th team since 2000 to go an entire game and no wide receiver caught a football. None. The only other catches came, you had 2 catches from Hooper, 1 from Okonkwo, 1 from Hassan Haskins, and I'm trying to think of the other, because he only completed 5 passes all game. Dontrell Hilliard, but that was for a loss. Robert Woods didn't have a catch in 3 targets. Chris Conley and Nick Westbrook-Akina, no catches on like one target. And Nick Westbrook-Akina said something that I thought was stupid. And I'm going to play that in just a bit. But it basically sums it all up. And, you know, and I see Titan Fox is in here. And there was some other news that happened around the AFC South we'll talk about a little bit. But, I mean, no passing offense. And on top of that, Chris Conley and Nick Westbrook-Akina each had some very bad drops. Chris Conley in particular, because Chris Conley Chris Conley should have caught a ball that Malik Willis threw on target. It was a perfect dime. He couldn't have thrown it any better. And Chris Conley drops it. You can't have that. Not in a game like this. So the drops was a major concern. And it is just horrible that we have absolutely no weapons. None at all. But take a look at Nick Westbrook-Akina. Listen to what he had to say in regards to the whole wide receiver issue.
We just go back to work. No one was saying this, earlier in the year, when we were making plays. So I'm just going to ignore all that and go back to work and just try to get better and make the plays that we need to make. That's all it is. It was a bad game, had a few bad plays, and we just got to go back to work.
So that was Nick Westbrook-Akina with Paul Kaharski, and that was tweeted out on Paul Kaharski's Twitter page at Pete Kaharski. He said nobody was complaining about this before week 9. I don't know what planet NWI was on, but that is the biggest lie you could ever tell. He probably doesn't pay attention to social media. And if he did, he's lying. I mean, just say you don't listen to social media and don't make yourself sound stupid talking about nobody complained about this before when we were making plays. In what world were the Titan receivers making plays? What plays were Titan receivers making? None. And saying nobody complained about it before, everybody complained about it. Nick, everybody complained about it. You don't know because you're not seeing it. You've been missing for the last 5 games. Even during the streak, you haven't really caught much of a ball. I could go back and take a look at Nick Westbrook-Akina's game log, and I could probably tell you, if he had any catches or not in the last 2 games. Recent games, the last 3 games, 3 out of the last 4 games, no catches. 3 out of the last 4 games have 6 targets, no catches. And it's had no catches in the last 3 games. He's talking about we're making plays. Who making plays? A.J. Brown, I know nobody want me to mention that, but I'm going to mention it anyway. This dude was talking all kinds of trash. And you know what? He wasn't wrong. He was like, nobody open. Repeat, nobody was open. And he was absolutely 1,000% right. Nobody was making catch. Nobody was making plays. And it's embarrassing that the receivers are so narrow-minded. They're thinking they're doing a great job when they haven't done anything. And NWI talking about that. I'm like, You haven't, there's been an APB out on you. You've been missing all year. I mean, NWI for the entire year has 7 catches, 138 yards for the year. A.J. Brown has 8 times that amount already. And it was terrible. And so, again, receivers are bad. Next. You know, when I say there's one, if it's 1 or 2 people that's an issue, I usually blame that 1 or 2 players. But when an entire unit is struggling, you got to take a look at the coaching. So I take a look at Rob Moore. I take a look at Todd Drowning. But I also got to take a look at Mike Vrabel as well. Because Vrabel is so loyal and stubborn to a fault. He just will not place blame on Todd Downing. It's like Todd Downing can do everything wrong, rob them blind, and Vrabel will not blame him one bit. But yet he'll blame the players, but he won't blame his coaches. And he's so loyal to his guys, he's doing the exact same thing that Mike Malarkey did with Terry Robisky. He would never place blame on Robisky, even though the offense was awful, and that offense is better than this one. So Vrabel, like Malarkey, never placed blame on his offensive coordinator. He just won't throw him under the bus or drag him down, or will say, you know what? You know, there were some issues with our offensive coaching, but we'll correct it. I mean, he won't admit mistakes. And Vrabel, and then, of course, we go to John Robinson, too. They always talked about accountability, but none of them want to hold themselves accountable for the mistakes that they made. And I said this back in the summer. Vrabel's arrogance and stubbornness could destroy this football team. And the Titans are at a crossroads. They either rise above this game or they let this game linger and it turns into something worse. The Tennessee Titans could very well lose to the Denver Broncos this Sunday. And it will basically be a microcosm letting this game linger into the next game. And so that's really bad. And then John Robinson had a chance to fix this situation. John Robinson has had chance after chance to fix this situation. He could have made a trade at the trade deadline that maybe could have helped. And I know there are a lot of you out there that's going to say, well, what player could we have brought in? There's no player out there that you could have traded for that would have made a difference. None of them would have made a difference. That's a lie. So you're basically saying Robert Woods, Nick Westbrook-Akina, Cody Hollister, and Chris Conley, any of those 4 receivers are better than a Chase Claypool or Jerry Jeudy or KJ Hamler or DJ Moore. So you're saying what we have, any of those guys are better than those options out there. And that is asinine. That's an asinine way of thinking, if that's what you think. Chase Claypool, Jerry Jeudy, DJ Moore would have easily been the number 1 receiver on this team and would have garnered some attention. And so to say that and just think, oh, well, you know what? When we get Burks back and we get McMath back, you know, we're going to be great. We're going to do well. You're going to see. You'll see. You're banking on guys that are injured. You don't have none of those guys. Yes, theoretically, Traylon Burks could come back off of IR this week now. But like Elijah Molden, that doesn't guarantee he's going to play this Sunday. It doesn't even guarantee he's going to be brought back off of IR this week. Elijah Molden could have been brought back off of IR a month ago, and they waited till now to do it. McMath could have been brought off almost 2 months ago, and still hasn't been brought off IR yet. Darren Robbins, I appreciate the super chat. You're not too late. We're just talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I definitely do appreciate that. But John Robinson, well, we call him J-Rob, is J-Robbed because he's robbing us of a great opportunity. Because I guess they're afraid, you know what, we went all in last year and it didn't work. They're playing scared. They're playing not to lose, and that's what happens. You lose. So that's not good. Again, Winston Churchill said, I'm going to keep saying this a lot until the Tennessee Titans seem to get it. Those that do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Mike Vrabel has not learned from the lessons of the past with Mike Malarkey. He hasn't learned from his mistakes in the past. John Robinson hasn't learned from his mistake in the past of trading A.J. Brown, which was stupid. Stupid. Thank you, Ryback. Trading A.J. Brown was the dumbest trade you could have ever made. And when you could have rectified that problem, you didn't. So that's just being real. Now, the main reason that the Tennessee Titans lost this game and the last part of the god-awful were those ugly, stinking zebras. Okay. The zebras. I mean, some egregious calls. There were a couple of times where Big Jeff and Weaver and some of them were getting held, and they didn't call it that on Kansas City at all. But that's not really why I'm mad at the refs and why I think the refs ultimately won this game for the Kansas City Chiefs. It was the 2-point conversion in the end zone. Those penalties were ridiculous. All of them. In particular, the one that Travis Kelce completely grabs Josh Kalu's face mask, but they call holding on Josh Kalu. And I thought that was just absolutely ridiculous. Horrible officiating. Said that was Vrabel speaking through Nick's mouth. I mean, you know, they're being taught what to say. But I mean, it's terrible on his offense. And the refs are terrible in this game. And Cannon says, why didn't we use Derrick Henry in the second half? No, he wasn't hurt. They just went away from him. They went away from what worked. Typhon said Nick did his job as requested, called blocking. And that's basically it. And even Malik Willis was talking like that. He's like, you know, I missed some throws, I made some throws and things like that, but he was running around waiting for somebody to get open. He's like, I can't keep doing this. So, you know, John Robinson mentioned, you know, we got to get better around Tannehill. But instead, you got worse around him. and in fact means you got worse around Malik Willis. Time Fox says Vrabel is like the wife that won't leave her abusive alcoholic husband no matter how much they beat her. Downey means well. I swear he'll change. That's basically what Vrabel is saying. He's like, Downey's going to get better. Downey's going to do the job. You'll see. Todd Downing is going to do a great job for us. No, he's not. Todd Downing has never changed up in any game this season. What makes you think he's going to change now? He's going to do the exact same thing all over again. Austin Hooper is our best receiver, and he's a tight end, Zach Carpenter said. And that's true. Our best receivers are tight ends. Pig Wickle, what's up? Proud of our defense. Offense couldn't back him up. And I said that on Wednesday. I said the defense is going to do absolutely everything they could, but the offense isn't going to be able to keep up. And that was exactly true. We got to surround Malik like Philly did Hurts. And again, they had a chance to do that, but they didn't. We put the game in the refs' hands. Yup. Typhon said the refs were there to get Kansas City to win. Large market team. And of course, the national narrative, they wanted the Chiefs to win. You know, national media didn't want to talk about a Titans upset because they would have basically said it wasn't that the Titans won, it was that the Chiefs lost. That would have been the narrative. And Titan South says, we won the game by heart. And it sounds like a moral victory type sense. There are no moral victories in the NFL. No. And Pigwiggle says, I'm debating muting the game because the commentators were squealing like KC fanboy. Hey, come watch the live stream. Mute that and listen to me. I'll help you out. Shout out to Titan. Rossi saying, what's up? I will be on his show later tonight. No voice and all. I will definitely be in the building. One GP says the defense is ridiculous. That defense is really good. 242 Titan says, wide receiver coach needs to teach them how to draw a PI call. Even if they did, there were a couple of times where PI could have been called. I think the one on Nick Westbrook-Akina, they could have called it, but they didn't. I think we go on another 5-game winning streak. We will see. We will see. But again, I'm with Titan Fox. There's no such thing as moral victories. None. So saying we won this game by heart, I respect that, but we didn't win. Titans technically didn't lose the game. The refs cost them. The refs beat the Titans. Kansas City didn't beat the Titans, and consequently, the Titans didn't beat the Titans. The refs beat the Titans. That's what happened. Like I said, the refs won this game. They did that. So that was my good, my bad, and my god awful. And again, John Robinson needs to take a real strong look at himself in the mirror and realize he made a horrible mistake trading A.J. Brown. That was a really dumb mistake that has literally cost them a lot. And then that whole comment with Big Jeff is even more stupid. Talking about, we don't know where we're going to get the money from to pay you. Well, you better find that money and you better pay him. If you got any sense. So, again, that's my good, my bad, and my god awful. Some of my thoughts from the game. I thought, again, the defense was fantastic. despite 440 yards for Patrick Mahomes. He had to earn it. And the Titans had every shot and should have won this game. They should have won this game, and we would be 6-2 right now in front of a national audience. I'm just saying they try to be like Belichick too much. I agree. It's like, but that's all they know. All they know is the Patriot way. And that's not great, but it's all they know. Ricky Jenkins said no Hooker and no Harold Landry. Just imagine what this defense could be. I agree. I think if you had Harold Landry in there, you're in a much better situation than having Josh Kalu. And I think Josh Kalu played admirably in this game. I would have rather had Hooker in this situation. But, again, there's neither here nor there. But, I mean, I know we're all calling for Todd Downing's head. But we all know Vrabel is not going to do anything. He's going to protect his boy. He's going to protect his boy. And it's a shame because your boy, Vrabel, cost us the game. And John Robinson should be crying himself because he cost us this game too. He did. John Robinson cost us this game as well because he didn't make a move at the trade deadline like he could have. So that's that on that. But y'all, I think it's going to just about almost wrap it up. Although there is one other piece of news that did happen, and that is in the AFC South, the Indianapolis Colts, who I believe fired their offensive coordinator, they fired Frank Reich. They fired Frank Reich today, since they were 3-5-1, and they hired Jeff Saturday, the former Colts center, to be the interim head coach for the Indianapolis Colts. So the Colts have clearly punted on this season. And Ricky says Malik played really good. I don't think he played great. I think there were some things he got better at, but he has to get better in late game situations. They got multi-year extensions. They don't care. Well, they better start caring, or fans ain't gonna start showing up. If Big Jeff walks away, you have killed your fan base. Plain and simple. You have killed your fan base. So, the Colts are learning that. Jim Irsay, is willing to be like, you know what? It ain't going to work like this. He fires Frank Reich. Vrabel needs to do the same thing to Todd Downing right now. Unfortunately, he's not going to do it. And you know what, Ricky, you're talking about we need Frank. That has been 615 Podcast. Lee, we were talking about that. He mentioned that to me. And as far as offensive play calling, that may not be a bad idea to at least look at. May not be a bad idea. And we can't be afraid of a guy being an offensive coordinator and then he ends up getting a job. Derek Robert, fire Vrabel and hire Eric B. I think if we have another head coach for the Tennessee Titans in the future, it better be an offensive mind. Because that's all the league are going at is offensive minds. Very few coaches that are coaching in the NFL are defensive guys, like a Sean McDermott, like a Robert Saleh, who is very impressive with the Jets. They got their big win over the Bills yesterday. But that is what I think me and Lee was talking about that. How is Eric Bieniemy not a head coach already? How is Eric Bieniemy not a head coach already? That is a shame, a real shame. So, we'll talk about the Frank Wright coaching firing more on the Truth League report tomorrow. But I think that's going to just about do it for tonight's show. I think we've covered just about everything. Make sure y'all stay tuned on Wednesday. We will have the Two-Tone Blue Star of the Week and Dunce of the Day. So get your nominations together for that. And then also, again, the Truth League report. Tomorrow we'll talk about my top 5 games from this past week and my top ballers from this week. And also come on back tonight at 9 Central Time on the Titan Upload Network with Titan Rossi. I will be on that show as well. Like I said, no voice at all. I'm definitely going to do that. So again, everybody, I definitely appreciate y'all. No, they're not going to fire Mike Vrabel right now, but we do need an offensive-minded head coach, but we need an offense around him. So I do agree with that with Titan Fox. And then Mr. Jones, I appreciate you. I know the Grizzlies are playing tonight against Boston. I almost thought about going to that game. I had thought about going, but I'm not. But I will be going to some games in the future. So everybody, thank y'all for tuning into the show. I will see y'all tomorrow for the Truth League report and Wednesday for TNT tonight. So I thank y'all, and y'all have a very good rest of the night. And we tighten up because that's all we know how to do. Good night, y'all.